Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GCRE TV. Today, the CRE show with Stace, or the CRE Branding Show with Stace, as we always do on a Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Stace, as you know, is our go-to person in the industry for anything when it comes to branding your product, your properties, your services that you do in the commercial real estate world. It is very important and paramount that you do this when you're sort of looking to do anything in the real estate world. So Stace will join us now on the call. Stace, how are you doing today?
Hey, Gavin, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. The weather was sunny here today, which was good. We always have this talk about, the weather with us, but it's a beautiful day. So I am not going to complain about it.
Good.
So what about yourself?
Things are good outside in Boston. Outside, it is gray and it's cooling down. We had unseasonably warm weather. It was in the 60s, 70s, and even we had some maybe close to 80 in the past week. So it's very strange that this time of year, but I don't complain about that.
Yes, well, if the weather was anything like it was here, it would be crazy. So today we're going to be speaking about the purchase funnel in the commercial real estate world, and you got some really cool, sexy stuff for us. So I will let you have the show, and then I will rejoin you towards the end. So when you're ready for me, just shout my name back.
All right, fantastic. All right, hi everybody out there in GCRE TV land. So today, as Gavin mentioned, we're going to be talking about the purchase funnel and how real estate businesses can improve, how they move prospective customers down the funnel from being a lead to being a repeat investor who demonstrates long-term loyalty. And the purchase funnel idea works no matter what kind of business you're running, if it's a service provider or if you manufacture a product or if you're offering a real estate investment. First of all, I want to get everybody on the same page. When I talk about the purchase funnel, what exactly is that? So it's a visual metaphor that we use in marketing that describes the journey that customers take as they think about and eventually make a purchase or investment from you. If you think about the wide end of a funnel as the place where you try to gather as many potential customers as possible, and the narrow end as the place where your prospects have already made a purchase. So the visual of a funnel makes sense because as people move along the continuum from the wide mouth of the funnel to the narrow spout, we're focusing our efforts to give them the right information to create the right emotions like curiosity, confidence, appreciation of our value, and ultimately loyalty to bring them closer to us. Some marketers will say that there are 4 or 5 phases of the funnel. I like to simplify it and say that there are only 3. And those 3 phases correspond to the phrase, know me, like me, trust me. And so the phrase, know me, like me, trust me, describes the 3 types of relationships you will ever have in your life, whether in your personal life or in your business life. I believe you can boil all relationships down. They all fit into one of those categories. Either people know you, just know you, or they like you, or they trust you. So first, people have to know you, and then they get to like you, and after some time, hopefully they come to trust you. Let's think of knowing me as the first phase in the purchase funnel where we want to generate awareness for our business with potential customers. When I'm trying to generate awareness with a new customer, I want them to know that I exist as a business and give them a solid idea of what I can do for them. Think about like when you meet someone in a business setting for the first time, maybe at a real estate meetup, or maybe you're talking to a group of potential investors. So you'll introduce yourself by telling them your name, and then you'll offer a short synopsis of the value that your business offers them. This is the introduction, and you wouldn't move right to the close. You wouldn't tell them details of the last deal you did. You would introduce yourself and start to build a rapport. Because what's our mission at this phase? It's to get people to know us. So think about this in terms of your marketing, your business, or an investment opportunity. To generate high level awareness, here you'll use marketing tactics like advertising with banner ads that drive to your website, buying ad space in a publication, being a guest on a podcast, posting on social media, speaking at a business conference, anything you can do to encourage people to ask a question in their mind. They have to ask, how does this person solve a problem I have? So they have to know you exist, and they have to know generally the value that you can bring. Once you get them asking that question, you move them down the path to liking you. So, but at this early stage of the funnel, they don't know enough about you to like you just yet. And they're not going to make a purchase or an investment with you because just knowing you isn't enough. There, more information will have to come. And there are so many people who are doing what you're doing right now, no matter what you're doing. I guarantee you, you have competition. For everybody watching this, guys, you have so much competition that you have to find a way to differentiate yourself in order to stand out, to generate that awareness, to get people to know you. Billions of dollars are spent each year trying to understand how to help businesses and brands stand out from their competition as they generate awareness. It takes a blend of science and art that can get your investment opportunity in front of the right customers. But getting in front of them isn't enough. Remember the three phases: know me, like me, trust me. We're on a journey of customer loyalty. So, what do you have to do next? What's your goal at this point in the funnel now that people know us? We've done some advertising, or we've gone to meetups, or we've been a guest on a podcast. People know that we exist. At this point now, we have to get them to like us. And so, how do we get people to like us in our personal lives? There's a direct correlation, right? So it's more than people just knowing what we do. It's seeing that we have things in common, like our values, our goals, our intentions. So for viewers, when you're marketing your investment or any other product or service, you have to let people know why you do the things you do. Your motivations behind your service or your offering are huge. People are not going to buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And it's a real mind shift for marketers to understand, not to pitch what somebody does, but why they do it. And if anybody disagrees with me or wants to challenge that statement, I'm open to that. Send me an email, stace@trustdeepagency.com, and we can debate that. But I believe explaining why you do what you do builds a real connection between buyers, and that begins to give them the confidence to invest or make a purchase with you. Understanding your purpose in business leads you to be able to discover and solve the challenges that people need solved. And once you know your why, you have to share it with people. So, what are some ways you communicate that purpose to people once you understand what your purpose is? So, in this phase of the funnel, this could come across in articles that you write or a video that you post that describes the reason behind the offering that you're making. You know, it could also come through in small touches, things like comments that you make on somebody else's social media feed where you're sharing your insights on a situation, because there you have you have the ability to reference things that your values or your motivations that connect to the topic somebody else has posted about. And you don't have to be so overt to say, hey, this is the thing I'm selling, this is the product I'm offering, and here's my value. You can use somebody else's post to share some of your personal values. Your values and motivations, they come through in your responses to people as you're talking to them one-on-one. And through your actions, your words, your messages, everything that you share, once you get into a little bit more depth, people start to understand the reason you're doing this. And I actually think this is really an overlooked part of branding for businesses, even a personal brand. So like not having a firm understanding of why you do what you do or what values drive your mission. And if we can think for a second, I'm going to ask everybody to think about a brand or a business that you really like, one that you're loyal to. So the values or mission that makes that brand what it is and how it connects deeply with you, it didn't happen by accident. They didn't just open up shop one day on a whim and somehow you became a loyal customer. It was a focused effort on the part of what that business did to discover, to define, and articulate its purpose to you. And it's not overt. They don't come across and say, our purpose is to do this, but it comes through in their actions. It comes through in the interactions between employees at that firm or that company. It comes through in every communication that they have with you. So at this point, we're making progress down the funnel, right? So we already talked about generating awareness, getting people to know us through advertising, introducing ourselves to prospects, posting on social media, driving people to our website, handing out your business card, being a guest on a podcast. These are all tactics that generate awareness. We're also talking about consideration. Consideration is getting people to like us and understand why we're here. And you'll see how the marketing tactics shift a little bit. Here, you would make blog posts or articles that go into more depth about the investments that you're offering, or you express your motivations or your vision behind what what the outcome could be. You know, a video offering a better explanation of the values that you offer, or the values that your investment offers. You know, your responses to others on social media, deeper one-on-one conversations with people via email, or being interviewed in a local publication. You know, connecting with customers on a personal level, like taking them to dinner or playing a round of golf, or even just sharing with them an article that you found online that appeals to them. It doesn't always have to be about your product or service. It's about who you are and why you do what you do. Those real connections build affinity, and that helps people to like us. So these touches, these connections are expressing what you as a business professional are all about. And through them, I'm getting to know you. I understand your values, your mission, the things that are important to you. And hopefully I'm seeing some overlap between what matters to you and what matters to me. And that's what happens. That's how we make friends in life, right? I mean, uh, we find people who have similar things in common, some common ground, and we start to like them, and we eventually come to trust them. But once I like you, I can now consider purchasing from you. It can't happen before we get to that point. So your content and your actions have moved customers and investors closer to the end of that funnel. Now that we've got to that point, what are we going to try to do next? So know me, like me, trust me. So getting people to trust you. The reason that my advertising agency, Trust Deep, uses a purchase funnel that follows the premise of know me, like me, trust me, is that our practice is based on helping clients become more trustworthy. However, words alone don't create trust. Your actions, both in the moment and over a long period of time, that's how you create trust. So how does this translate to the purchase funnel? How do you get people to trust you when you may never get to talk to them one-on-one, or they may not have the opportunity to have done a deal with you in the past to see your track record? Well, you're going to have to build trust with words. And a second ago, I said you can't build trust with words, but there is a way. And I'm going to have to show you the proof of my work, which is essentially a record of my past actions. That's where sharing things like testimonials comes into play, or sharing recommendations or referrals from others. These can be posted on my website, like or on my LinkedIn profile, or you can post them you can email them out to prospects. You know, sending emails as part of an email marketing campaign can really help people see how well you've performed in the past. So at this point, people know you exist, they know the product that you're offering, and they have a good idea of why you're offering that. They understand your purpose. Now they're starting to see your track record, and that's going to help to give you some more, increase your credibility, and people can see that you've done this in the past, and that you have created, oh, you know, case studies are a great way to show your track record. So you can write case studies, or you can hire somebody to write a case study for you, but you can even use a speaking engagement or a guest spot on a podcast to lay out the success of a previous deal. That's a case study too, and case studies are huge in showing people that you've done this before and you've had positive outcomes. That goes a long way to confer trust. It extends trust to you. The trust that other people found is extended now to the people who are watching that case study. So you'll see how some of the tactics, like podcasts, appear in each of the three phases of know me, like me, trust me. And the thing that changes in each phase is the message you're sharing in that moment. You're meeting a potential investor at their point of need, because at first they need to know you exist. Then they need to build up some consideration for you. They need some sort of affinity to consider you. And then ultimately they need to trust you. And you wouldn't rush to the close, right? If you were meeting somebody for the first time, you wouldn't just like shake their hand, introduce yourself, and try to sell them on something. You would build that relationship. It wouldn't be natural to do it any other way. And it works the same in marketing. You have to move through the process in the way that this works. I mean, the marketing funnel is this thing that like marketers have been using for decades, and it's been refined. It's a process that works. Creating trustworthiness is a complex process, and I don't know that there's any one tactic that's strong enough to make that happen. So at Trust Deep, we take a scientific approach to helping our clients become more trustworthy, and we use this four-part equation. If you saw last week's show, we talked about the trust dynamic, because your trustworthiness is made up of your credibility, your track record, your ability to show empathy, and your alignment of interests with your customers. These factors happen throughout the funnel, and when done correctly, they turn prospective customers into repeat customers. And better yet, these people become advocates for you and trust you enough to recommend you to friends. That's ultimately your goal, is to turn people into marketers for you. So if you approach your marketing with the aim of turning customers into advocates, I guarantee you will be able to create more revenue for your business. You're playing the long game when you're able to create more lifetime value from investors. And keeping investors is less expensive than having to find new ones. And this actually in turn allows you to command a premium. And some people ask me, how can I command a premium by being trustworthy? Well, think again about your favorite brand, the one that you're loyal to. And we will happily pay more for brands, products, and services that we're loyal to, because we trust them. We skip over less expensive choices every day in our lives, whether it's a car or technology or fashion, whatever it is, or an investment. When we have more confidence in somebody, we might accept a lower return, a marginally lower return, if we have more confidence in that person. Ultimately, we're not buying the investment, we're buying the person behind it. So if you're building a new real estate business or you're expanding a current one, place your marketing efforts into those three buckets: getting people to know you, getting them to like you, and then getting them to trust you. And understand where people are in the journey and offer them the type of information or the level of assurance they need to move along that continuum. So introduce yourself to them, show them that you have important things in common, and then demonstrate why you're worthy of that trust. You wouldn't rush to the close if you were in a personal meeting or just meeting someone for the first time, and you shouldn't do that in your marketing either. Different pieces of marketing have different purposes in the funnel, whether it's generating awareness, increasing consideration, or bringing people to the point of purchase, and then on to loyalty and advocacy. Gavin, back to you.
Stace, that's some really good stuff. You caught me over there. I was still writing down some notes as you were talking. It's really good stuff. So
I got to give you like a 10-second warning next time or something.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just drop me back into it just like that. So this is a really good thing. And it kind of, every week when we speak, I always say this to you. It's one of those things where, a lot of these things we kind of are aware of, but we never seem to put into practice. And the only way I can think of doing this is practice is going to make you perfect at it. So some of the stuff that I picked up was, biggest thing to understand is what is your differentiator in the marketplace. As you said, there's tons of real estate deals out there. There are tons of real estate companies. Almost everybody has an investment fund or something today. What is your biggest differentiator from everything else? And that really goes from understanding, understanding what is the next point I'm going to talk about, which is, what do you, why do you do what you do? And a lot of companies focus a lot on how they do it and what they do. Very few people talk about why they do it, because the thing is too mushy or all mushy stuff, and they don't want to go there, right?
Right.
We at GCRE always talk about, why we do what we do. And our whole premise or the motto of vision of this company is to provide a platform that the everyday person can get access to get their message out there. Because we believe that the world needs educating and entertaining in the commercial real estate world. That's a strong message,
That's a mission. That's a mission. That's fantastic. Yes.
Yes. So understanding the differentiator and why you do what you do is the very, very biggest thing to understand when starting the top of the funnel, as they would call it in this process. The next thing you talked about is use commonality to build your funnel as well. So you talked about different parts of the funnel. You use different things. So you might, for example, use a podcast or a platform like GCRE to get your message across to people. But at different stages where they are, you might provide X amount of information and then a greater amount of information and then a more probably detailed information. And it kind of ties into my last point really down the line, which is understanding where they are in that buyer's journey or in that journey of making a decision. And then when you have that clear understanding, only then you can actually put the right information in front of them. And then lastly, build trust during the entire process is the key thing, which is what you're all about. The Trust Deep agency is all about building trust and bringing value to people. I think that's probably one of the core things that you guys preach on a day-to-day basis, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
So I think I think that is a really valid point, is the why, the trust, the differentiator, things like that, and understanding where they are in that journey so that,
Right. It's interesting. So nobody would start a business. I hope nobody would start a business without a business plan, right? So you wouldn't go to a bank or a lender and ask for a substantial amount of money without having a concrete plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think the corollary to that is you need a marketing plan as well. And so the funnel is a structure that helps you start to form that, and you can start to hang pieces of content on it, or actions, or whatever your marketing is going to be, whether it's going to be creating articles or blogs or whatever it's going to be. When you understand the funnel, it gives you a framework for a marketing plan. And just as you would approach your business plan and try to stick to that, you create a marketing plan, and you're going to work through that methodologically. You wouldn't just try one thing, and then if that works, it doesn't work, you don't have the results, and then you go shoot and do something else. And you really need to plan things out. And when you said not a lot of companies understand their why, but the companies that do, not a lot of companies talk about their why. The companies that do are hugely successful. So I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know that. So Simon Sinek has gone through this, where he talks about the companies that are focused on a why and communicating that why, because all of us have a why. Sometimes we don't know what it is, but when people can focus on it and articulate it to others, they're able to bring more people in, and it's part of that structured marketing approach.
Yes, no, definitely. I think one of the things we need to do probably on this show for one of the episodes is to really educate people on how to really focus on the why, or how to get that why out of them so that they could really enforce their message to be a much more stronger one.
Okay. You want to do it next week?
We'll see if it fits into the schedule, but definitely, I think we already have a set plan for the first 4 or 5 shows, but we could definitely look into that. And it is true, when you think about the big companies, why you buy from them, it's an emotion that is attached to it. I mean, Apple, prime example of that. Why would people buy Apple products and not a Windows product? Well, I'll be biased. I'm an Apple guy, but if you ask me to explain to you why I buy it, because it's 10 times more the price than anything else, it's just an emotion. It's just a feeling. It's the leader who was there, Steve Jobs. So it does work. And companies in real estate in particular is very old school. And while old school works very well, and I think you and I spoke about this, I think on our very first call, they really need to move into the 21st century, because the people who they do business with, they kind of, for a better word, I don't want to say dying off, but a new generation is coming up, and they're not speaking the same language as the new generation. I think that's a really nice way to put it. Branding today is about, addressing the new generation and how they tend to want to be addressed. Everybody's on their phone. Very few people sit on a desktop. Everybody's on their phone or their iPads or something like that. And it just goes from there.
In addition to a younger generation becoming decision makers and having the money to invest in real estate, every generation has been changed by marketing, or just the way the world and technology has evolved. We've become much more sophisticated consumers and buyers, so that we expect different things. We expect a certain level of finish, right? We expect a brand to feel put together. They're just things that we come to expect. So like if we roll into a website that looks like it's from 2004, we bail instantly. And that website, there might be nothing wrong with it functionally, but we have these expectations of what the status is, or what the standard is. And so, absolutely, younger people having more money to invest, we need to appeal to them, find ways to connect with them, but also everybody just having a higher expectation of how things work. I mean, like once somebody else does it, once your competitors do it, once one of your competitors do it, you need to do it, or you need to at least understand how to get closer to that.
Definitely. So, Stace, any sort of last remarks for anybody on the show that you want to give on today's topic?
The only thing I would say is if you're launching a business or you're trying to grow your business and you haven't considered fundamentally thought out a marketing strategy, do that. Any money you're putting into your marketing otherwise, you may be wasting it. You may not be getting as much efficiency out of each of those dollars or whatever your local currency is. You're not getting as much value out of it. So have a plan.
Okay, good. And for anybody that wants to get hold of you, Stace, what's the best way to do it?
Sure. You can check out our website, trustdeepagency.com. It's one long word, Trust Deep Agency. And if any real estate investor wants a half-hour consultation about their business, we're always open for that. So you can schedule an appointment right from our website.
Okay, great. Well, Stace, it's always nice to have you on the show. I look forward to having you next week again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you, everybody, for watching us, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.